Yeah, the SAC has ruled not to extend the deadline. So my concern there is that the Trump administration is playing around with the post office. Congressman Lynch, Congressman Presley, the other day at the Postmaster, talking about machinery that he refused to put back in place, talking about making sure there's no delays in mail, talking about making sure they put extra people on for overtime during this time. We have probably the largest, the most important presidential election in our lifetime. It's going to be in November. And every 4 years it's that way, because every 4 years the president sets the tone and the direction of the country to go. And with the concerns of people not having faith in the Postal Service, first of all, it's a disgrace. Because our men and women, our Postal Service work extremely hard to deliver our mail in rain, snow, sleet, sun, whatever it is. And my concern is that Washington, the president, will play games mid-October to the end of October before election happens to discourage people from voting. I think that the fact that the Supreme Court voted down, they have a reason to vote down, but the fact is that if somebody mails a ballot in, and this year we're in unique circumstances, because we have the ability for mail-in ballots, where we otherwise never had that, it's only absentee ballots. I think I said the number is 90,000 requests. So 90,000 Bostonians requested a ballot to be mailed to them so they can mail it back. My concern is many of those still have not been mailed back yet, and there are, I'm doing quick math, 70,000 roughly that have not been mailed back yet. Those votes matter, and if those votes aren't in the mail before the first, they don't count, which is unfortunate.
The Celtics and Raptors were reportedly considering boycotting Game 1 of their playoff series as a form of protest in the wake of the Jacob Blake shooting. Would you support such a boycott?
Yeah, so if they boycott, they boycott. I mean, that's a point. I think it's important. I think that, in our country, we've had many acts of boycott, protests over the last several months here now. I think some cities and states have risen up to the occasion and have begun to work on the issues around racism and systemic racism. I still think that we have certain parts of our government, national government, that are not paying attention to it. As I said from the podium here a few days after George Floyd was murdered, that this feels different. And in Boston, we're going to do everything we can to be a national leader. And I think that that's important. I think boycotts are great, but it's also about action. And I'm not saying that NBA should be doing that, because right now they're in the midst of their season, and many NBA superstars and players are expressing, letting their voices be heard. I really commend you for that. But I think that it's time for action in this country. It's time for action here in Boston. It's time for action in Massachusetts. It's time for action in this country, quite honestly. You asked me a question earlier about the policing, the incident that happened in Wisconsin, and my response is enough is enough. We also have in Boston, I can speak for Boston, we have some incredible police officers in our city, men and women, that have spent their career making sure that they do good. When they took that oath of office to become a police officer, they took an oath to be good. We're going to continue to provide the training that we need to provide as we move forward here. You asked me a question about training. The person in Minneapolis that killed George Floyd, he's no longer a police officer. I don't know if any amount of training was going to help that person, because it seemed like what he did was way above and beyond anything that he might have been taught or trained in the police academy. But as a community, we have to look deep inside of ourselves. We have to continue to work together. Over the last month or so, I've heard a lot of people are tired about this, and tired about hearing about that, and not enough work is done over here. We need to be compassionate with each other. We need to continue to move forward. We need to continue to take a day at a time, battling systemic racism in all of its forms. One of the reasons why I would like to see our kids go back to school is because of an achievement gap. We have to do it safely. We have to make sure that we have, and I'm pushing that because of our Black and Latino students are the kids that have the largest achievement gap. If we don't have that, we have to rally around our school kids. We can't just let them let that achievement gap grow. So I don't know what words I could say here today that people want to hear or don't want to hear. If that's what the Celtics and Raptors do tonight, is it tonight the first game? I think it's fine. I commend them for it. But it's not just about not playing a basketball game. It's about hearing the message that those players are passing on to us. It's the message of not playing that game and what the reasoning behind that message is. And I think that we have to pay attention to that and pay attention to the different messages that are being sent. And if we continue as a society to ignore and avoid those messages, we'll be in the same exact situation that we're in today, next month, next year, next decade. Right? Thank you, everybody.
على ما حال هذا كان غير اختصار ديال على البوليسي اللي قتل فلويد بانه ما بقاش بوليسي صافي سالا، وهضر على الطلبه اللي جايين غادي يرجعوا عندنا للستيت على اساس بانهم غادي بان ما كاينش تجمعات، ما غاديش يكون طلبه، ما غاديش يكونوا هذا، ما غاديش يتجمعوا، ما كاينش تجمعات باش نخليو الستيت خدامه كوم الفو. غادي نخليو كلشي خدام وكلشي مزيان. هذه هي غير نبذه خفيفه باش نابديتيكم على شنو واقع عندنا حنا في السيد ديالنا. شكرا، مع السلامه.